Yes? Nicholas? Hey, that's a good name. I like that name. And it might be very fitting. Yes? Did you forget what you wanted to say? Okay, well, if you remember, raise your hand later. So, yes? We're going to go with Nicholas. So, Nicholas always liked the biggest and best of everything. Didn't matter what it was, he always wanted the biggest and the best. Do you ever want the biggest and the best? I think in our human nature we do. But do you sometimes share with somebody? Do you share with somebody who doesn't have something? Well, this little boy, Nicholas, wanted the biggest and the best. It didn't matter what it was, especially food, especially dessert. Oh my, you know, the good side of your body, that just seems to get filled up really fast with the foods, you know, the vegetables and the fruits and the entrees. But the bad side, do you have a bad side of your stomach where you put the little sweets in? It's okay to have some sweets, but that always seems to have plenty of room, especially in my tummy. I like sweets. Do you like sweets? How many like sweets? Nicholas loves sweets, so it didn't matter if it was a piece of pie or a cookie. He always looked for the biggest. And he would reach out there and grab it before anybody else. One day, Mama made a chocolate cake. Do you like chocolate cake? You do? You're a chocolate fan? Anybody else a chocolate fan? We got adults that are. I'm kind of, take it or leave it. But anyway, she made a big chocolate cake, and it looked so yummy. It had the nicest frosting on there, and Nicholas was just almost drooling at the mouth. I can't wait to get done with dinner and have a nice piece of cake. Mother cut all the pieces of cake up, but there was one that was exceptionally big. And do you know who wanted that piece of cake? Nicholas. And you know what? Nicholas made sure he got that piece of cake. And he took a bite in the cake. It was yummy and good. Then he took another bite. That wasn't so good. Then he took another bite, and he just like, do you ever want to spit something out and you can't get it out quick enough? It was terrible. It was the bitterest, awful piece of cake he had ever had. And you know what? He didn't finish his cake. And there were no other pieces to have. And you know what? The rest of his family, they seemed to be enjoying their cake. And he didn't quite understand it. Why do they like their cake? It is so bitter and nasty and awful. Well, mothers have a kind of a cool way of teaching you things sometimes. Doesn't your mom teach you things? I'm sure your dad does too, but your dad's usually at work and your mom's with you more and she has to teach you things. Well, Mom knew that he would take the biggest piece, and she wanted to teach him a lesson that he should, be more considerate and not always take the biggest and the best. And he should think of other people, maybe of his father who worked hard all day and might have wanted the biggest and the best. So she put there's this baking chocolate you use, and it's called, I forgot, but it's for baking, and it is the bitterest. I tasted it once as a kid. It is awful, and you spit it out. It's not meant to eat like a candy bar, but it looks like a candy bar. What are those called? Baker's chocolates or something? Yeah, and it's not the semi-sweet ones. It's the bitter ones. And somehow when it's mixed in at the right amount, it tastes good, but she put a big old hunk in here. And he got that hunk, and what was Mom trying to teach him? Not to always take the biggest and the best, because the biggest and the best is not always the best, is it? So we need to be considerate of other people and not always be the first to grab and take things, but kind of wait our turn. You know, whether it's at home or whether it's at someone else's house or even here at fellowship dinner, we need to be careful and take our turn and think of other people before ourselves. So the next time you want the biggest and the best dessert, just think about Nicholas and his biggest and not so best, right? Go back to your seats and have a happy Sabbath.